What's up guys, welcome back to Daniel Talks Football right here on YouTube. I'm Daniel and we are back with another video. In this video we're going to be predicting every Premier League result from now until the end of the season. Before we do get into the video, please make sure to like the video, comment down below and also subscribe to the channel. Go over and follow the Instagram and the TikTok Daniel Talks Football on both. Right, it's really late when I'm recording this. I've got mocks this week as of you watching this. So I apologise if I'm a little bit quieter. I don't want to wake the rest of the house up. So yeah, if I'm a little bit quieter than normal, that is why. However, I have gone through from now up until the end of the season and I've predicted every single Premier League result. From that, it's going to give us a final table, and from there we can go through and see what I think the final table will be. Now obviously if I were to predict an actual table, I've had a look at the table and this is not what I think the actual table would be. If I were to sit down and predict it myself right now, it would be different to this. However, it's a little bit of a difference on normal predictions. I've already done updated Premier League predictions, so I wanted to do this instead. It's a little bit different. And yeah, it's just a little bit of fun really. Obviously, you predict little upsets here and there because they do happen. I'll get them wrong. It's just a little bit of fun. Don't take this too seriously. As I'm going through now, you are seeing the different results on your screen. If you want to stop to have a look at any of these, then please do. I'm not going to sort of run through them individually because that would take an awful long time. So the results are playing on your screen now. Obviously the ones in sort of dark grey are the games that have already been played. The ones in white are the games that haven't been played, and they're the ones that I've predicted. As I say, you go through and you predict upsets. You always do when you're doing this kind of thing. So I have predicted upsets in there for sure, and you are probably seeing them on your screen now, to be honest. I'm really waffling to try and get through this segment, but there certainly are a lot of upsets. So as I say, if you want to stop and have a look at any of these results, please do. Don't roast me too hard. Obviously, again, this is through the course of the season. This isn't what I would predict to happen if these teams were playing tomorrow. There are teams like Wolves that I've really predicted to sort of pick up over the course of the season. And I've predicted Chelsea to get a little bit better from where they are at the moment. You know, West Ham, I've predicted them to get a little bit better because I don't think they can get any worse than where they are at the moment. So you're seeing the results on the screen now. Don't roast me too hard. It's just a little bit of fun. And yes, we have now just finished all of them, so we will get into my first place. In first place, I have Manchester City. Now, I've got Man City winning 29 out of 38 Premier League games, only losing 3. I've got them finishing on 93 points with a goal difference of 68. I do actually have Arsenal, who obviously are second. They're on 93 points, so just a little bit behind the City side. 17 goal difference, so it's, you know, I've predicted it to be very tight between the two sides. And that is really how I think it's going to turn out, to be honest. I do think it is going to be tight between City and Arsenal. I think they're two very good sides. But personally, I'm not sure I can't remember what I predicted. This now, if I were to do a proper prediction, I don't know who I'd predict first. I wonder if I'd go City, but then as well I also wonder if I'd go Arsenal. So this has got City winning on goal difference, which would be really harsh for this Arsenal side. I think this Arsenal side deserve to win the Prem, but we've got City in first and Arsenal in second. In third place we have Manchester United. Now they're actually on course here to finish the season on 87 points, which would be absolutely incredible for Ten Hag's first season in charge. Again, if I were predicting this normally, there's no way that I would put Man U third with 87 points. There's no way I'm doing that. But that's how the predictions turned out. Winning 26 games and only losing 5 would be a really good outcome for this United side. As I say, if I was predicting this, you know, myself, there's no way I'd do that. But that's how the predictor has come out. In fourth place, we have Liverpool. Liverpool finishing in fourth on 76 points. This is a really rough one because obviously this means that teams like Newcastle, like Chelsea, all these sides miss out on Champions League football. You know, Spurs are missing out now. You know, Chelsea are missing out, and obviously Newcastle are as well. I've got Liverpool in there on fourth. I think they will they will sort of climb back from where they are at the moment with somebody like Cody Gakpo coming in. I've got them in fourth, and yeah, Jurgen Klopp will just about nick Champions League football with this Liverpool side. In fifth, I have Newcastle. This is a Newcastle side that I've got to finish on 72 points, which I think would be a really, really good outcome for Eddie Howe's side. If, this first proper season since that takeover, any European football, I think Newcastle fans probably would have taken going into the season. So Europa League football, I think that'd be a really, really positive thing for this Newcastle side. They could then go out and spend a couple of 100 million in the summer and improve that squad even more. They've still got people like John Joe Shelby, like Joe Willock. These are key players in that side. So the fact that they're going to, I've got here them finishing 5th, which means they'll get Europa League football. The fact I've got them doing that really shows that, I think they're going to do well. So I do have Newcastle in 5th. In 6th, we have Spurs. This is a side that's just a single point behind Newcastle. 71 points for Spurs. Look, I think the thing with Spurs is Conte's future is going to be undecided. People aren't, the club aren't going to be sure what's happening. The fans aren't going to be sure what's happening. And I think Conte might lose interest if he doesn't sign that new deal. We discussed this with the Spurs News, who was on the podcast last week, and he agreed with me, and he sort of said himself that if a new contract isn't signed, you could see a rapid fall off from the Spurs side, and I do think that will happen. So I do have Spurs finishing in 6th. In 7th, we have Chelsea. Predicting them to make a comeback from where they are currently in 10th, but not a massive one, only finishing on 62 points, a massive 9 points behind Spurs and a whole 31 points behind the winners Man City. That's also 14 points off Champions League football. This obviously all depends on what happens with Graham Potter and what happens in the rest of this transfer window. I'm recording this at 11:30 on Friday the 13th, so this is going out, I think this is going out in like a week's time possibly, so this could have all easily changed, and Chelsea could have gone out and brought Enzo Fernandes and every new player under the sun. As of recording, they haven't done that, so I do have them in 7th, and again, Graham Potter, it depends what happens there. I like Potter as a manager. I think he's a really, really good manager. They've said they're going to stick with him, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. In 8th, I have Brighton, finishing only 4 points behind Chelsea. Obviously, we know the future, we know what's happened, well, we know the past, sorry, not the future, no one knows the future. We know the past of what's happened between Brighton and Chelsea this season, with Brighton obviously getting Cucurella and then going and getting Potter. For Brighton to then only just finish 4 points behind this Chelsea side would be absolutely incredible, considering Chelsea have poached some of Brighton's best talents, including their manager. I think De Zerbi is really going to pull through in this Brighton side, and there I've got them finishing on 58 points. That'd be an excellent finish for the Seagulls side. Yeah, I think all Brighton fans would take that, so I do have Brighton in 8th. In 9th, I have Fulham, finishing on 51 points, 7 points behind Brighton. I'm predicting a little bit of a fall off from Fulham where they are now. I don't think they'll get European football, but still, I feel like this finish for Fulham, 9th place, 51 points, that's a good outcome for their first season in the Premier League. You offer that to any Fulham fan at the start of the season, and they probably snap your hand off for it, to be honest. So I feel like their fans would be really, really, really happy with that one if they could get that over the line. Marco Silva's men would, it would take them right to the top, and I feel like they'd be happy about that. 9th place for them would be absolutely incredible, and that's where I do have them finishing. Into 10th, and we have Brentford, who again have 51 points, so just 2 goals difference between Fulham and Brentford. Again, this is where, this could easily be the other way round, because all it takes is for me on one of these games. I sat there for 10 minutes and did these predictions. I didn't think about them. So if one of those games I could have just gone, Brentford win that one by 1 or 2 more goals, and it's the other way around. As I say, it was just what I felt like at the time, to be honest. There's no rhyme or reason for these. Brentford in 10th, again, I think Thomas Frank and the Bees, they would take that. This is possibly dependent on what happens on Tony, but again, I wasn't thinking about results that deeply. I think Brentford finishing in 10th, I think all their fans would be buzzing with that, to be honest. And yeah, the Bees to finish in 10th. In 11th, and I have West Ham, predicting them to bounce back from where they are at the moment with David Moyes. If Moyes is still the manager or not, again, haven't really taken that into account. In the first sort of few games, I was predicting them to do quite badly, but then I did predict a bounce. If that's still with Moyes in charge, if that's going to be a new manager bounce, don't really know, but either way, I think that bounce will come. I think West Ham will be completely fine. They've got some excellent players in this side. People like Paqueta, this is a player that was keeping up Bruno Guimaraes from from that Brazil side, from that Brazil midfield, they're going to be completely fine. They don't need to worry about relegation. I'm convinced that they don't need to worry about relegation. So yeah, West Ham in 11th. Moving on into 12th, we have Aston Villa. Unai Emery's Aston Villa. Again, predicting them to bounce back where they are at the moment. They're not in a great position at the moment, Villa, but Unai Emery, I think he's really going to come in and make a big impact on this Villa side. I've got them finishing in 12th with 45 points. Again, it's a big goal difference swing actually for Villa with a minus 14 goal difference. So I have clearly predicted them to lose some games by heavy amounts. But I think if you ask any Villa fan, they'll take 12th with 45 points. If you were to offer that to them now, they'll probably take it. They could then go and rebuild. Well, they could go and build on that for next season. And I think all Villa fans would be absolutely over the moon with that one. Moving on into 13th, and we have Wolves with 39 points. It's clear that you're not going to need 40 points to survive this season, and that's a good thing for Wolves here. 39 points, and they're not doing well at the moment. We know they're not doing well at the moment, but they've brought in Julian Lopetegui, and I think he's really going to help turn them around. People like Matheus Cunha at that club, he's a decent player. Wolves are going to be completely fine in my opinion. I think Lopetegui, he is going to keep them up. He's a top manager. I really can't see Wolves going down. So yeah, I think Wolves will finish in 13th. In 14th place, I have Leicester City. I've got Leicester City finishing on 38 points. We all know what's happened with Leicester this season. A really poor start. Then they rebounded, and ever since the restart, they've been poor again. I think they're going to be okay though. I just can't see this Leicester side finishing any lower. I think there are 6-7 worse sides worse in this division than them. And they'll get people like Maddison back and they'll be totally fine. So for me, I have Leicester City finishing in 14th place. In 15th, and I have Crystal Palace. Now, this is a Palace side that's looked really good under Vieira. However, since the restart, we've seen a couple of cracks emerge. I think they're going to be fine. They don't need to worry. I just feel like they'll possibly get that sense of security a little bit too early on. And then from there, they'll just start to fall off. Get on the beach. And then you'll start to see results sort of fall for them. They'll be fine though. So for me, yeah, Palace in 15th place. In 16th, I have Nottingham Forest. Now, I'm actually disappointed this didn't put Forest going down. Because I think everybody knows that I want Forest to go down. They've signed so many players. And I just don't want them staying in the league, really. However, I think by the looks of it, they are going to be staying up. 31 points will be enough to keep them in the league. They've signed all these players and they're signing more in January, which is obviously not a surprise to anyone, because we know that this side just can't stop signing players at this point. It's this Forest side and it's looking like they are going to stay up according to my predictions, which again I really don't like. But yes, we have Forest in 16th. In 17th, I have Leeds, just 1 point less than Forest, staying up on 30 points. This is a Leeds side that will probably be lucky to stay up under Marshall with these predictions. Personally, I think they're going to be completely fine. I think, they'll possibly finish 15th, maybe 14th. But according to the predictions, I've put them in 17th then. But yes, Leeds will still be completely fine and they will still stay up. Now moving into the relegation zone, and the first side I have is Everton. This Everton side will have just 2 points less than that Leeds side and will be going down to the Championship. It's an Everton side that's been run really poorly by that board for years. I think Lampard will be sacked sooner or later as a sort of last gasp to try and keep them up. They'll get that next appointment wrong, and Everton will be a club that will go down to the Championship. Next up we have Bournemouth. Even with these new American owners, I just can't see them staying up. I don't think enough investment is going to be there in January to keep them up to the level they need to be kept up. They need to be at. I think they'll go down to the Championship and then they'll come back stronger. But I do think Bournemouth will be going down. And then last but not least, in 20th, I have Southampton. Just not good enough. The squad's too young. And yeah, I really do think Southampton will be going down. But what do you think will be the final Premier League table? Go through and do this yourself. I found this on worldfootball.net. So go through and have a look yourself. Do it yourself and tweet me, DM me your predictions. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video and I'll catch you all again in the next one. See ya.